Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the culture, expenditure, and accommodation. So, before we land into Germany, we should understand the German class culture. Before you start your master's degree program, you need to understand what are the expenditure is required before you land into Germany and after you land into the Germany, and what are the accommodation options you do have to stay in Aachen or in and around Aachen. So just before we start into the topic, I would like to give the just brief idea about RWTH Aachen University. RWTH Aachen University QS World Ranking is 23. It is 23rd place in whole world for mechanical manufacturing aerospace. Also, if you look at the workshop Oka ranking, which is the first for the industrial and second for the mechanical engineering. Uh, if you look at the RWTH Aachen universities, the presence for the different leagues, for example, it is a part of TU9, so top technical 9 universities of Germany. Also, it is a part of Idea League, so five top leading European universities. And this university has a strong industry network and research collaborations with the different industries and universities across the world. If you take the example of India, we do have strategic partnership with the IIT Madras. So let's get started with why it is important to understand the German culture from the master students. If you understand the German culture, then you understand the academic and personal success in Germany. Because if you understand this culture, then you'll settle down very faster. So you'll understand very quickly how the university life is, city living, social norms. It is very important to settle down in the different land so fast. Also, if you would like to build the meaningful academic and social relationship, it is important to know the culture. Then you can better communicate with professor, classmate, and colleagues. It is always like this that if someone is coming from different cultural background, then there's always going to be like a miscommunication is bound to happen. So to avoid that miscommunication, it is always better to understand the local etiquettes, expectations, and communication style. Also, to navigate everyday life easily, for example, shopping, public transport, and official paperwork and appointments, it is important to understand the German culture. And if you look at the academic and professionally thrives, then it is important to involve into the or improve into the teamwork or involve into the teamwork as well as take part into the classroom and workplace. It is very important to be successful into this. Then you need to understand the German culture very well. There are main four pillars of the cultural aspect we are going to discuss. First one is networking principle, German cultural values, building trust and relationships, and the last but not least, social business etiquettes. In order to have to in order to demonstrate the professionalism or communicating very clearly and avoiding the ambiguity, and for long run building relationship, it is important these four pillars. So let's before we go into these details, I would like to explain you what German culture is and what is the Indian culture is. If you look at the German culture, the communication wise, it's direct, clear, and straightforward. Whereas Indian culture is indirect, polite, context based. For example, if you would like to say no, German will say no, but Indians won't say no directly. They will go round and round and round, and then finally they will say no, but that again indirectly. If you talk about the time wise, German culture is highly punctual and schedule based. Even you can ask German about the next year holidays, they are ready. But on the other hand, Indian culture is too much flexible. We always canceling the appointments. Also, we are scheduling it on a different time slots and then again rescheduling it. So this is why I think German culture is far better. Social awareness. It is always like individuality. So they have a strong sense of individuality. Whereas in Indian culture, we don't do the things alone. We are always with a group or family focused system. So which is good, I find it. Academical style wise, if you go into the any German professor's lecture, you can discuss or how open the critical issues, and you can ask some critical questions. They are open to discuss. Whereas in Indian system, we do have respect for the authority and hierarchy. And out of this respect, sometimes we do not do the critical discussions. We avoid it out of respect, but this is not so good. And in order to not to repeat the same thing in Germany, you need to be very careful with the critical open discussion and critical thinking. Public behavior. Germans are always reserved, calm, and orderly, whereas Indians are vibrant, expressive, and social. Just to give the example, a German like to sit in a train, nice, calmly, reading their books or doing their own things. But Indian, they like to talk to the unknown people also. They like to discuss some political issues. They like to talk about the things going on, or just like to chit chat. So these are the basic differences between the German and Indian culture. Okay, another thing is networking principle. So if you want to really build your network, you need to have some of the points which are listed here. This is based on our experience. So you can take it out some of the points. If you feel like, okay, adding some more, then you can behave accordingly. So for example, I always give the importance to the building genuine network, it not just in general network. So it's just not the having someone in a LinkedIn, but sending messages to the person time to time, asking the person about the how's it going. It's not just the being in the connections, but to have the alive connections, and without any kind of thing in your mind that okay, this person could be useful for this and that. I think you can do that, but later on. But the first thing is the building the network or genuine network, let's say, or connections. Always you should give before you take. So before you ask for help, I think you should have already that kind of communication or networking, or let's say kind of discussion with the person. So always you should think about giving them first, and then the taking some advice or support from them. Always it is better to have the common interest and start talking on that common interest. For example, hobbies, professional goals, or mutual connections. So its common interest is good to leverage it and make it into the connection. In our culture, we like to talk a lot. We are not really good listeners. That's what I believe. But some of you might be good listeners. So try to be a good listener. um, Active listening, so it's just not just listening, but active listening is very important. So you are asking some questions in between. That means next person is get motivated to talk more on the topic. um, Respect the cultural differences. I can tell you thousands of incidents where I found it uncomfortable when Indian student or some of my Indian friends criticize some of the Middle East friend or some European friends. They do have their own culture. You should respect them, their culture. That doesn't mean that you are disrespecting your culture, even though it's exactly opposite to what you are doing it in India. Doesn't matter, but you should give the respect to the other cultures. So this is what you should keep in your mind. um, as I said, I mean, even though you just connection, you just try to follow up time to time. because these good connections, or let's say connections with the professors or CU, CTO, or some other companies, it's good to have the follow up with them, so that you can be like the connections or relations will stay warm. That's what I would say. Okay, so how we think Germans are, and how the German are thinking about themselves. So as a Indians, what we think about German, they're correct, they're precise, like to have plan B, plan A, plan B, plan C, up to plan Z. They're inflexible, of course. They're honest. They're reserved. It's very hard to crack them. Car are scared. Of course, drink a lot of beer. That's what we think about Germans. But what the German thinks about themselves, they are hardworking. Of course, they run. Many of them are running the family business, so they are industrious. They are order and well organized. They are precise. They like to have cleanliness. So even you can ask now, Rahul, that many public places. I mean, this is what also Germans said to me. So especially Brand and Helmut, whenever you enter into the any society, like a private places, you see a lot of cleanliness, nicely done. All the small trees and the nicely arranged, all the footpath and everything in the private areas. But when you come to the public places, it's too dirty. So that's what the Germans' impressions are. And on the other hand, Germans like to have cleanliness. Even though the thing is 100 years old, doesn't matter. There should be cleanliness, well maintained, and to keep it nicely. Okay, what are the things we should do, and what are the things you should not do it. So for example, punctuality and structure, I think just now I said you should be punctual for everything. One of my friends experience, he was invited by one of the German family, and they were having they supposed to have the dinner together at 7 o'clock, and his train got delayed. So he arrived at 7:30, and they started already drinks. Then and they started already snacks, because it was like it's supposed to be 7 o'clock. So this is how it is, and you should accept it. So punctuality is very very important. Then you should have the all professional and private life in both independently. Do not mix it together, and of course you should always adhere to the dates and schedules. This is what always Germans like. As I said, direct communication in order to avoid the ambiguity, and in order to avoid the miscommunication, it is supposed to be direct, clear, crisp, and concise. um, German people like to have the formalities, or let's say formal designation. So if you're writing to professor, you should not say that just professor blah blah. You should write Professor Doctor Ing, or even though you're right, he has a more designation, you should write it in front of his name. They like it because it's not just the titles which he got it from his forefathers, but it's like the titles he earned it. So they like to have their titles in front of their names. Uh, while talking to the European people, especially Germans, what should topics you should avoid, like World War II? They don't like to discuss the politics. They don't like to discuss their personal incomes and personal lives. So you should avoid that. Uh, Generally, I remember one incident when I started my masters. One of my friend, he said, "Okay, so how do you feel about Hitler?" So this topic is very very bad. I mean, they hate World War II, but they hate too much the Hitler, the Hitler area, the regime of that time when he did lot of cruelty and so many things. So the German people don't like to talk about the World War II and Hitler. So please avoid the topics as well as politics and personal incomes. Um, so right now the situation is better, but few years back, or let's say last 2 years back, the refugee situation was not so good. Uh, Terrorism. I mean, Germans. If you look at overall Germany, there's no such a unwanted incidents are happening around in Germany. So it's very peaceful and everything. But still, Germans are very alert about the refugee situation, terrorism, global crisis, old age poverty. These are the things Germans are always concerned about it. Okay, so building trust and relationship. I think these are the three parts you can really slowly go with the relationship. I can share my experience. So when I met first time brand market, it was like very nice professional one. He asked me to do some professional work for 2 weeks, but I finished it in a short time, and I went to him and then showed my results, and then he was quite happy. And then his we started part-time job together. I was working with him as a part-time student, then PhD, then postdoc, and then become like a friend. So it takes a lot of time. It's not like over the night things will change. So you should have patience in the relationship building. They are very hard to crack it, but once you crack it, then it's like very easygoing people. But until and unless you have really good friends, you should be have that distance. We should not open the any topic which offend them. So you should take care of this all these things. As I said, you should respect their privacy in a part one. Then German values for action over the words, then following their through the build trust and everything. Then in part two, you can make it like a decision making process, or discuss with the expert, research, and then decide something, and so many other things. And part three would be like openness, honesty. These are the expected from the any colleague or friend, or whatever the relationship you have. Then um, they like to share their work, or let's say the tricks or points they would like to think beneficial for others. So you should do the same. um, of course, during holidays they don't like to get disturbed, so I think you should be really make it sure that you're not disturbing them. So these are the things you should keep in mind while building the trust and relationship. Social and business etiquettes, I think this is very important. um, so, for example, if you get invited for the dining and meetings, so you should wait for the host signal to have the firm handshake. Sometimes, I mean, even it happened to one of the big personality from India also, while handshaking with the chancellor. So they like to take time. They like to take time. They like to take position, and then there will be a handshake. I hope all of you are watching news, so probably you got to know what was the incident I'm talking about. But it is like they like to take the positions and then handshake. Um, yeah, we don't like to look into eye to eye contact. If the person is with a big stature like a professor or dean or rector, so we don't like to maintain the eye to eye contact. But it is important to maintain the eye to eye contact. Don't be let's say have while handshaking, do not be so casual, or do not be like lose your hand, but do not the hold it too firmly, otherwise it will be like not so nice for the next person. So but it's like in between, not so loose, not so also tight. Communication and writing, as I said, always they like to have the salutations, or let's say the titles, what they earn. Then they like to have the points, what you would like to mention to them in a bullet. So it's like very to the points, not so just story like thing. They hate it. So you should have like everything with the points. Professional conduct, of course, as I said already, punctual, well prepared, and respect for the structures and rules. Um, Here in India, we are going sometimes some places without obeying the dress code. But here in Germany, or dressing is also acceptable, but underdressing, or let's say not to wearing the proper dress or dress code is not so nice. And you should pay special attention to shoes. The many German likes to see the shoes, so I think you should pay special attention to shoes. Gift and social norms. So even if you get the invitation, I think you should get some flowers and chocolates. These are the typical things the people are bringing it. Um, or you can do it like take the wine with you and probably some flowers. These are like a typical gifts generally people are bringing to the others' homes. Always they have an independent dish. Even though you go to the hotels and restaurant, you should have your own meal. Do not try to have like ordering 2 to 3 dish and then sharing among 4 or 5 people. This is not so nice. Payment and tips. I think I'll just give one example. We were having a dinner at one place, and then there were like different nationality people. So in Germany, what we do in India is we like to keep the change, right, and put it in the uh, some kind of the folder, or sometimes we should ask them that, okay, how where I can pay the tip. So something like that, or we put the note or money into their hands, or sometimes on the table. So this is not so nice. This is not, let's say, acceptable ethically in Germany. What you need to do, let's say your bill is €8 and you would like to give the tip, so you can say to the person who is going to do the billing, you should say €10. €10 means you're giving the €2 tip. So this is how you should say it, not to give the €2 hand or table and putting it somewhere else. So this is like etiquettes one should have it for the tips. Okay, so another next topic is expenditure. So if you look at the master's degree program, so there are four kind of expenditure you are expected to have in Germany. First one is tuition fee. So this is like a 4 semester program. So €24,000 would be the total fee for the master's degree program. €6,000 per semester. Now we are still in early bird. So if you submit your application before 15th of January, you will get early bird discount, which is a 10%. So that means €5,400 per semester. Or if you get this some kind of scholarship, this tuition fee will be lower down accordingly. If you are a GEC student, you'll get a 50% scholarship. Or if you are a normal student with high potential, women in engineering or engineering network grant, then you will get the lower down the tuition fee, depending upon which scholarship you get it. But typically 24,000 as a tuition fee. Semester contribution fee, which is typically called as a semester contribution fee for the university, as a semester contribution fee, which is approximately 200 something, but approximately you can consider €300 per semester. And this will provide you the public transport, so the student ID and student services at an administrative cost. So everything will be included into the €300. Cost of living. So typically, if you look at the as of now, the block account amount is 11,900. So roughly €12,000. So that means per month cost will be €1,000 as per the government norms. But typically, on an average, student will be spending in Germany around 750 to €1,000. Uh, this includes rent, food, health insurance, utilities, transport, and other daily expenses. Yes, and these are the typically three types of costs you will get it in Germany. However, before you fly to Germany, I think there are some additional costs like shopping before the departure. But this is totally depending upon the person to person, how much they would like to spend it on the shopping. So if you want to buy everything in India, then also it's possible, then it's going to be expensive. There are some things you can buy it in Germany, which are very nice. And some of the things you can buy it in India, which are really good and economical also. Okay, so this is typically the chart which we are showing for the four typical cost. What you can see here: tuition fees, semester contribution, and cost of living in Germany, and shopping before your departure is the other cost. Of course, there are some other costs also there beside the shopping. For example, air travel. So the one-way ticket to Germany is varies from 35,000 to 60,000, which is roughly around 350 euro to 600 700 euro. This is one way cost. If you would like to go the round trip, then cost is around 600 to 1,000. So 60,000 to 1 lakh rupees is the typical cost for the air travel. I would highly recommend that once you get the admission letter, you should go for the air travel. I mean, the ticket booking of the aeroplane. Because point is, this is like a typical month, September, middle of September. Everyone is planning to travel for the master degree program, so it's going to be too crowded and too expensive at the end. So therefore, you can do it like a travel booking as soon as possible. Blocked account, this is where we'll also support you. So block account is nothing but just a proof for the visa that you're covering your whole month, whole year expenditure with this account. Uh, it is like 11,900. That's the block account amount, and will support you for the having the block account with the might be Wall Street or Ibix Cash will support you, and we do have collaboration with also um, both the companies who are providing the block account. Health insurance is another important thing which is let's say mandatory for all student in Germany. The approximately cost for the health insurance around 120 euro, 110 to 120 euro, and this is very important to have this. You can book it from here, and then after going there, you can have address, and then start your health insurance over there. So health insurance, so if you want to do something like you feel like ill, or if you feel like somewhere pain and you want to have the MRI or anything else, you don't have to pay a single penny. You can go and then take the all the medical facilities, or you can use all the medical facilities without paying single penny. So therefore, the health insurance is very important, and it is mandated to for the all. You can go to TK or AOK. These are the typical two insurances available in everywhere in Germany for the having secured your life. And of course, health insurance is valid for every hospital, every clinic in Germany. Yes, it's again the chart which is showing the typical cost. So air travel, 600 to 1,000 euro round trip. Then health insurance around 110 to 120. Block account is around 11,900 euro. Okay, another point is accommodation. So those students who already applied, I would highly recommend them to apply for the master degree program. You do not wait for your admission. You should book your accommodations in Germany, in Aachen. You should go to the student and work website, and then there uh, you should enroll yourself for the accommodation. So student and work is the first the option for the accommodation, which is I also recommend. This is like a public body or public organization in Germany, which is providing the so many hostels options. and it is everywhere there in Germany. In Aachen also we do have too many towers, too many buildings from the student and work, because we do have more than 47,000 students on campus. So therefore, in order to accommodate all of them, we do have the student and work buildings in and around Aachen. Then another accommodation option is RWTH International Academy. We do have some apartments for Indian students. So if you are interested, please send the email mentioning the interest, and I will book your accommodation. And private accommodation, to start with your master degree program, I do not recommend the third option. But if some of your friend or seniors who is staying in the same apartment, then I would highly recommend you can go for that. But otherwise, do not try to explore it and try to apply to private accommodation. There are many websites like a Weggesucht, then Immobilien Scout, and eBay Kleinanzeigen. These are the options available through which you can book your private accommodation. But private accommodation is not so good, not so good if you're not, if you don't know the place, if you don't know the if you're not there in person, then it's not the option you should consider. There are so many online frauds are also happening with this private accommodation, so I don't recommend them at all. Yeah, I think with this, I would like to say thank you very much for your time.